everybody, it's FREEDO here for Your Overwatch, and today we're going to be breaking down a gameplay where we play without a main tank. Now, obviously, good team comps are nice. They're stable, they're pro meta approved, they're all the heroes that you know you're supposed to be picking, but the question is, why are you picking them, right? There actually is a little secret that I have to tell you, that you don't always need to have a main tank, but why is that? Well, we've already broken down how what I called a squad comp works at the pro level of play. I think after some talks with like Eddie, I think the better name for it actually is a split comp, and the reason why it works is the same reason why this Zarya main tank is working for us on Route 66. Now, there's a few ways that are approved to play. Death Ball, everybody behind the Reinhardt shield barrier, you try to win the Reinhardt shield battle by outputting more damage into their shield than they can do to yours. You have a shield they don't, you win the fight after that. Or you have a dive comp, Winston in front, bubble, everything jumps together, isolates targets, trades out quickly. Now, there's a third way to play, and I would say maybe even a fourth if you count a more balanced comp that isn't weighted in one of these directions, a bit more in the spectrum of them, but split comp. Very interesting way to play. I've called it squad comp in the past, but the principles of it is to take alternate angles and use the map to tank for you. What do I mean by that? Well, if you use cover or high ground or multiple positions, you play Overwatch similarly to how you would play another shooter game, maybe Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, Halo, whatever. You use the terrain to your advantage to keep yourself alive rather than relying on like the Reinhardt shield barrier. Now, admittedly, this is a bit harder to play. It's the most flimsy way to play, and if you want more evidence of how this works, you can look at the 3DPS Widowmaker Pro guide that I made about how Misfits won a LAN playing against triple tank, using two flankers, a Widowmaker instead of an off tank, and Winston as the main tank, and they split the map, divide and conquer, and that's the goal. If you have multiple damage sources, whether they're ranged in the way that we have here, with a Hanzo, Pharah, and a soldier taking wide open space in this massive map of Route 66, shooting down into the targets that are far from us, or if you have flankers and maybe a mix of that, a little bit more of a healthy combination, understand that the win condition is for you to deal damage and not to die. Get kills, don't die, the solo queuer's creed. And it's all about making those individual impacts across the map and not making mistakes. A much harder way to play, to be honest, because Overwatch is developed to be able to have those team synergies in a MOBA-esque fashion. Tanks in front, healers healing them, everyone working in conjunction, and the way of playing a split comp is a little bit more non-standard. It requires you to make these goofy plays across the map, which are more risky, but enable for a more scrimmy style of play. A lot of people might just be saying right now in the comment section below, this is just my matchmaking games. Every game, nobody picks a tank. We barely have healers. There's Hanzo flanking on the left side, Roadhog on the right. That's the way the game is played at a lot of levels of play, but which I'm trying to stress, it is actually a workable comp. It's actually a way that you can win reliably. It's not the most easy way to win, because as we see here on Route 66, as my team are trying to just funnel into this choke, even if I succeed with a big Pharah flank in the back line and maybe get a kill or two, it's pretty likely that the front line attack is going to get steamrolled because the enemy team has a Reinhardt, we don't. So, fine, I give it up. I play one of my worst heroes, Reinhardt, because we desperately need one in order to just stand in front to be able to take these engagements cleanly. And that's another lesson into team comps and how they work. You can't force them into the map where they don't work. You have to know what the strengths of them are, and split comp is open space. The further out that you can spread the enemy team and stay alive in open space, the better chance you're going to have. Whereas if you are finding yourselves getting balled up too much without a Reinhardt shield, you're simply playing a less optimized version of the game. Whereas you can just take the simple route and do what you know works and play more of a death ball. And there's been other times on stream where we've been creative with our comps, where you get into a situation where the teammates that you get don't fit neatly into a nice 2-2-2 where all the roles are filled. So sometimes you have to just work with what you have. And it's important when you're trying to get in those creative moments of how you're going to play the round is knowing where the strengths lie. If you have multiple DPS, it's about splitting the map. If you're playing Death Ball, it's about sustaining with that Rhine shield. And if you're playing Dive, it's about coordinating together to take out a key target at the same time. The pieces that go into these different types of comps can change from meta to meta, but as far as I'm concerned, these are the three Overwatch-approved ways of playing the game. Now, there is a fourth way that is acceptable as well, where you might take a balanced approach, where you may have a Rhine, but a Winston as well. So it's not a pure dive comp, but you can set yourself up to dive. and it's somewhere in that spectrum. I think a lot of team comps and matchmaking probably fit more into the balanced category because a lot of players might not be trying to engineer a comp towards a very weighted style of play, but that's okay. There's another principle about team comps that as long as you have the right counter picks to the enemy, you don't really have to overthink a more structured style of team comp. Because if your opponent doesn't have a very structured style of team comp, you probably can get away with it. But if you're balling up without a Rhine shield and the enemy team is playing a death ball well, you're just going to get wrecked. There's no way to win that way. But if you don't have a Rhine and you split the map, don't die, and get multiple angles of attack on that death ball, then you have a chance. And that's the severe difference. A lot of times in the past, I've said things like meta doesn't matter and you can play a bunch of different heroes, and people took that to mean, well, every team comp is viable then, right? Surely you can have just 6 DPS. Is that what you're saying, FREEDO? No. But what I am saying is that a lot more heroes and playstyles were viable than we thought, or than the general community thought, at least. And it isn't that you can pick anything under the sun, it's just that the rules are flexible towards whatever win condition you need to follow to get them to work. You hear people say you must have a Rhine, you must have 2 healers, you must not pick Widowmaker, you must pick all sorts of different things. And the rules are never cut and dry, and it's understandable that players try to find the most simplest answers to these questions, but in reality, there's always going to be a butterfly effect between how your team matches up to the enemy team and the play put in. Sometimes the comp is the least important factor about why you are or aren't winning the game. And it's just play, decision-making, and performance that dictates most of it. A big percentage of the time that is the case, but when you're trying to structure a team comp to be better or to adjust what the enemy team's doing, what you first want to ask is, are you even playing your team comp right? I think a lot of players default into multi-tank because it's the simplest way to play and it was meta approved for so long. But without Roadhog hooks or good Reinhardt initiation, the team's never going to go anywhere. You just stand around healing the entire fight. Each one of these styles of comps has a way that you enter in to have a chance to win the game, and it's important that you know each one when you're playing it so that you can maximize your win-loss percentage and start coordinating with your team better. The phrase group up and go together does apply in one style of comp, but it is antithetical to the win condition in a split comp. Kind of crazy, I know. Guys, if you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, please hit the like button. It really does help us out and let us know that you enjoy the videos if you'd like to see more. If you did enjoy, why not subscribe? We upload each and every day, and you're going to want to be sure to hit the bell icon so you can get notified when our videos go live. Notification squad! Linked in the description as well, you can check out our Twitter, our Twitch page, and our Discord server where you can find teammates to group up with. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for Your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.